Here is the news. So far, we know there are 23 survivors after Manchester United's air crash at Munich this afternoon.
When the accident happened and I survived it okay, you could say that you couldn't get any luckier than that, really.
In February 1958, Bobby Charlton survived one of English football's worst disasters. 23 of the Manchester United party died in the Munich air crash, but Charlton was one of the lucky ones to come away with his life. He went on to a remarkable career with England and Manchester United.
You know, I've just been so fortunate, really, in my life, so lucky, definitely, without any question.
Now in his 70s, Bobby Charlton can look back on a life that has overcome tragedy and embraced enormous success. He was top scorer for England with 49 goals and for Manchester United with 249.
He was a naturally gifted player. He was two-footed as well. I think one of the most two-footed players we've ever seen. He could go either side, shoot with either foot.
He had a grace, but a change of pace like a strike of lightning. You know, both change of pace and from his boots. I mean, the power in his shooting was immense.
There are race horses and there are thoroughbreds and there are derby winners, and Bobby was right up there.
He was a beautiful player. He was a lovely striker of the ball. I mean, 30 yarders into the roof of the net. I mean, I couldn't even reach the goal from 18 yards.
Such a great way with football that you've got to say, can it be? Well, yes, it can.
It all started in Ashington, a small mining town in the northeast of England, in October 1937. Bobby was the younger brother of Jackie Charlton, who would go on to play professional football with Leeds and England. It was a family that had football in their blood.
My mother was a Milburn, and the Milburns were four brothers that actually went to play professional football. As my second cousin, which was my mother's cousin, Jackie Milburn, played for Newcastle. So, you know, we were a football family. Then my brother Jack and myself went into the professional game and took it from there. But it was really, there was nothing else in life, it didn't appear to me, except football.
Playing for England's schoolboys, Bobby scored 2 goals and was spotted by Joe Armstrong, who took him to Manchester United. Here he was taken under the wing of Jimmy Murphy and Matt Busby. Together, they were building one of the football phenomena of the 20th century, the Busby Babes.
By now, the Busby Babes were getting a really good reputation, and if you were a Busby Babe, you were very lucky. When Matt Busby started playing young players, there was a great sympathy, you know, and a great feeling for Manchester United, you know, that this was something daring, you know. Playing 16 and 17-year-old players in the First Division was unheard of.
I felt we had reached the stage when I could nearly have sat in my office for about 10 years and just went out and saw the match. They'd reached that stage of experience, power, skill and everything else.
At the same time as completing his military service, the young Bobby Charlton was working his way through the Manchester United youth teams. Then one day, he got a tap on the shoulder from Matt Busby.
So Matt came in and he said he wanted to see me in his room, and I went upstairs, and there's only 2 things it could be for. You're in trouble for some reason or other, or he was going to pick you. And he says, well, I'm going to play you tomorrow in the first team. And you just dream of things like that. It's everything I ever wanted to be, a footballer.
Bobby made 14 appearances in his first season and qualified for a championship medal. And he settled into life with the Stars at Old Trafford, scoring goals and losing to his teammates at poker.
He was the worst poker player ever I've seen in my life. Now, I mean this sincerely, because we played cards. Bobby was known as Happy Harry, and truly, Bobby, the young Bobby Charlton, would join the poker school. And the first thing he would do, I repeat, he would put his money on the table, and he would, excuse me laughing, I can see it now, when I lose this, I'm not writing any checks this week. That's before the game started. He was a terrible poker player, he was.
But the innocent days of the Busby Babes were short-lived. Matt Busby had taken United into a pioneering tournament, the European Cup. So in February 1958, the team had overcome Red Star Belgrade and were through to the semi-finals. En route to Manchester, the plane stopped in Munich to refuel. And there at Munich Airport, the event that was to change Bobby Charlton and Manchester United forever.
We were all together that day. We were a team. Kenny Morgans, myself, Big Mark, Liam Whelan, genius Dennis Violet.
We had to get onto the aeroplane, and then there was some technical reason why we couldn't go, and then we had to come back into the terminal again. And this happened twice, I think. But it was decided, you know, that they would take off, and we were all quite pleased about it. At last, we were on our way, and we were going to be in Manchester in a few hours. And of course, it never happened. The plane just went, and it went, and it went, and it went down the runway, and then you started realizing, you know, this is happening. This is not right. There's something wrong with this. And then we hit the perimeter fence, and that's all I can remember, really.
These are the people so far known to have survived. Of the Manchester United party, Matt Busby, manager, and the following players: Greg, Wood.
That's something you
Folks,
can't plan. You don't plan. It happened, and I was fortunate enough to be able to help one or two others, some that weren't able to help themselves.
Morgans, Berry, Charlton, Violet, and Scanlon.
Bobby Charlton and Dennis Violet, when I got to them, were both unconscious. I pulled them 20 or 30 yards away from where they were and left them over a pile of rubble to get them away from where it was burning. And one of the biggest shocks I got was when I looked up after tending to someone else. Bobby Charlton was standing, staring at what was the remainder of the plane in a fuel dump. And the shock I had, I dragged him away earlier as a dead man, and the shock was actually seeing him standing there in a daze.
What Harry Gregg did in the accident, you know, was marvellous. You know, I can't believe what he did. It was just terrific, you know, the bravery that he had. Going back, I don't know if I could have ever done that, really.
Back in Manchester, the city was in shock.